Hello, humans. I am Scott Cannon coming to you live on WLTH 1370 AM from the greatest city in all the world. Gary, Indiana. And this is the Counterpoint. Hey, the month of February is Black History Month. So in celebration of those brave men and women who made a difference in our world, be it in America, the Caribbean, South America, Africa, or anywhere in the African diaspora, I've decided to shine a light on those who shaped the world that we live in. Well, folks, this last week in Black History Month has been quite eventful in the world of sports. The NBA All-Star Game saw the center of the sporting universe be focused on Charlotte, North Carolina, to celebrate 24, mostly black, men showcasing their skills. We've seen Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid settle their collusion lawsuit against the NFL for reportedly tens of millions of dollars. And we've seen some of the greatest athletes who ever lived celebrate birthdays. Charles Barkley, one of the great power forwards of all time in the NBA, never hesitates to give his opinion, whether or not he's qualified to do so. And Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player who ever lived. Yeah, I said it. That's right. Also celebrated his birthday a few days ago, appropriately on All-Star Sunday. Now, when I was growing up, everybody wanted to be like Michael Jordan. We all wanted to dress like him, look like him, and wear his shoes. We wanted the swagger, and of course, we wanted to play basketball just like him. His influence on the culture is unprecedented. But over the past few years, cracks have started to form in the image of Michael Jordan. Many of the criticisms of him being an apolitical company man who only thought about his own personal fortunes have come back to haunt him. And bizarrely, in a world where guys like LeBron James and Colin Kaepernick are now expressing themselves not only in the field of sports, but in the business world and the political sphere, it might be a man who shares a birthday with Michael Jordan, February 17th, who ends up being the most influential athlete to this generation. The man I'm talking about is the greatest football player who ever lived. Take that, Tom Brady. Jim Brown. Born during segregation in St. Simons Island, Georgia, Brown was raised by his grandmother until he moved to Manhasset, New York to live with his mother at the age of 8. From an early age, Brown excelled at sports, earning 13 letters in football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, and track and field at Manhasset Secondary School. From there, he went to Syracuse University, where he dominated in football, but also excelled in baseball, track, and became a Hall of Fame level lacrosse player. So it's no surprise that when Brown made it to the NFL in 1957, he immediately made an impact, winning 3 MVPs, making 9 Pro Bowls, and smashing virtually every record in the history of the league, many that still stand to this day. When he finally did walk away from the sport of football at the early age of 29, many thought that that would be the end of Jim Brown's legacy in this world. But in reality, he was only just getting started. First, he'd take over Hollywood, starring alongside some of Tinseltown's biggest names like Rock Hudson, Raquel Welch, and Burt Reynolds. Then he'd make his bones in blaxploitation movies that often saw him as one of the few, if any, black heroes in motion pictures. But Jim Brown's most enduring legacy that continues to inspire guys like Colin Kaepernick and LeBron James is his work in civil rights. As early as 1964, Brown was creating things like the Black Economic Union, which used professional athletes as facilitators in the establishment of black-run enterprises, urban athletic clubs, and youth motivation programs. When Muhammad Ali was stripped of his heavyweight boxing title in 1967, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and other black athletes coalesced around him to show support for what was seen as a militant anti-American stance at the time. He also started the I Can program, which has raised millions of dollars to help gang members reform their lives and learn job skills. But most importantly, Jim Brown was there. At the height of the crack epidemic that saw the highest violent crime rates in our lifetimes, Jim Brown was going up in crack houses alone, confronting Bloods and Crips and the addicts they were serving to try to reason with them. he was holding gang peace summits at his house. Oftentimes, he was more effective at stopping the gang violence in the black community than the police were. So while Jim Brown may not be perfect, he's taken some stances I don't agree with lately politically. But no matter what the man has done in his personal or political life that you don't agree with, you cannot deny that this is a black man who has used his voice, his celebrity, and his money to stand up for the cause of racial equality, even when so many of his peers have shied away from any form of overt activism. And this is why so many of today's athletes don't just want to be like Mike, they want to be like Jim. Okay, folks, chop it up with me on Twitter. At The Chemist Lives. The Chemist is spelled with a K, as I am a product of the Gary Community School System. We can talk about politics, music, sports. You can tell me how terrible I am at this job. Or you can listen to me every Monday from 6 to 8 on Issues and Answers with Jonathan Boose. I am Scott Cannon, and that was the Counterpoint on WLTH 1370 AM and 92.7 FM for everyone in the Chicago area. God bless the working class. God bless organized labor. And I am out, humans.